Hello, this is Anna. Welcome. Today I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on ink blending intricate die cuts. I'll be using dies from the July 2022 Hero Arts My Monthly Hero Add-Ons to make this really fun flamingo card design. I'll be using Hero Arts Hero Hues cardstock. For the leaves, I'll be using Kiwi, Meadow, Paradise and Bermuda, and for the background, Mist, and for the flamingo, Peony. For ink blending, I'll be using Distress Oxide inks, Rustic Wilderness, Mowed Lawn, Peacock Feathers, Mermaid Lagoon, Picked Raspberry, and Kitsch Flamingo. The leaves I'll be using are from the Tropical Florals Die Set. This set has a variety of leaves like monstera and palm, as well as flowers like orchids and anthuriums. But I'll be using only the leaves for my card design. First, I take the dies and arrange them on the cardstock panel. I arrange them in such a way that maximizes the area. I move them around until I'm satisfied and then take some low-tack tape like washi tape and tape them together. I lay the tape across all the dies, horizontally as well as vertically. Then I'll take it to the die cut machine and die cut them out. Next, carefully remove the dies from the cardstock. I will set this negative piece aside to use later on. Then I'll take a craft pick and remove the die cut leaves from the die. I'll repeat the same process on all the cardstock panels. Off camera, I went ahead and die cut all the leaves from the 4 different colors of cardstock. For this flamingo, I used the dies from the Ornaments Die Set. I die cut the flamingo's legs twice. The dies also include a pinwheel and a tuft of grass. Now it's time to ink blend the die cuts. The secret to ink blending them is the sticky mat. This is actually a mat used in electronic die cutting machines like Cricut. It has a low-tack stick that makes it perfect for this technique. First, I take the negative piece and lay it down on the sticky mat. Then I take the positive pieces and place them back in their respective little nests. To ink blend these die cuts, I use mini ink blending tools like this one from Altenew. You can see there are 3 different sizes which are perfect for coloring small areas. I also have this inexpensive option, a very small blending brush which is part of a makeup brush set. I'll be using this in today's project. First, on the lighter green cardstock, I will ink blend with Mowed Lawn. I will ink blend only selected areas, dabbing it here and there all over the leaves. This will give it more depth and texture. Next, I will add additional color using Rustic Wilderness, also dabbing it in select areas, mostly on the outer and inner parts of the leaves. This is what it looks like after ink blending with the 2 Distress Oxide colors. For the darker green cardstock, I only used Rustic Wilderness to ink blend. For the light teal cardstock, I used both peacock feathers and mermaid lagoon, starting first with the latter. And for the darker teal cardstock, I only used mermaid lagoon. Looking back, I should have used a darker color for this one, but it is what it is. It still came out quite nice. For the flamingo, I started with picked raspberry. I concentrated the blending on one side of the neck, and then on the top and lower parts of the body. You can see I'm using another type of brush here. This one also came in the same makeup brush set. Then for the highlights on the flamingo, I used Kitsch Flamingo and blended it on the other side of the neck and the feathers on the bird's body. Now it's time to arrange my scene. I start by laying out the different ink blended pieces onto a cardstock panel. I try not to put two similar colors together. I start out at the top, moving down the paper, laying out the pieces as I go. I will turn up the music a little as I lay them out and be right back. Once I'm satisfied with the arrangement of the leaves, I take the die-cut flamingo and place it in the middle of the scene. Then I move the leaves around a little to make it look like it's peeking out from behind the foliage. I will also add the legs of the flamingo underneath the leaves. Next, I take a piece of press and seal which is slightly tacky on one side and lay it down onto the arrangement. Using my hands, I press down very firmly. I run my hands all over the top to make sure the die cuts stick to the press and seal. If you don't have press and seal, you can try using masking paper or a wide, low-tack tape to lift the die cuts. Before I add glue to the back of the die cuts, I will ink blend the background panel. After ink blending the background panel, I add little dots of glue at the back of the die cuts using a fine tip nozzle. I try to add dots of glue to as much surface as I can. Then I take the press and seal that's holding all the die cuts, turn it over the ink blended panel, position it carefully before pressing it down. Then I slowly peel the press and seal off from the bottom, holding the die cuts in place as I go along. It's okay if they lift up a little. I will arrange them again once the press and seal is totally off. After removing the press and seal, I add glue to the rest of the leaves and secure them in place. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you who are subscribed to my channel. I truly appreciate your support. And if you haven't yet, I would be so happy if you would take the time to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks! Once the glue dried, I took a pair of large scissors and trimmed off the parts of the die cuts that were hanging off the edges of the cardstock panel. I find this part very satisfying. Then I took a little bit of acrylic paint onto an acrylic block, diluted it with water, and with a paintbrush splattered it all over the panel. Off camera, I die cut the beak out of black cardstock, and I also die cut a thin rectangular frame using the Rectangle Infinity die set. I glued down the beak using a pickup tool. I separated the two parts of the beak because I wanted to make it look like the flamingo was smiling. Not sure if I achieved that. For the eye, I added a tiny dot of Nouveau drops in ebony. Then, I added thin beads of glue all around the edges and adhered the black die-cut frame. The sentiment "Happy Birthday" is from the July 2022 My Monthly Hero Kit. The secret to getting near-perfect white heat embossing is to use white pigment ink like this Hero Arts Unicorn ink, which is my favorite white ink, then using white embossing powder to heat set it. I added dimensional tape behind the sentiment and adhered it onto the upper right side. Then I adhered the panel onto a side-folding card base. Here's another card I made earlier. While this one has a lot of ink blending, the other one I made has absolutely no ink blending. I just highlighted the leaves and flamingo with white gel pen. Here's a closer look at the cards I made. If you enjoyed my tutorial and would like to see more card making and paper crafting projects, please like and subscribe to my channel. Also, check the video description below for the products I used in this tutorial, or you can check the complete list on my blog linked below. In the meantime, have a wonderful and crafty day. Till next time, bye!